So, last time I talked about an old obscure FNAF fan game. So, how about I talk about a new obscure FNAF fan game? Okay, technically this isn't a FNAF fan game, it's a horror game, but a lot of YouTubers did call it FNAF games, so it gets a pass in my eyes. With that out of the way, let's talk about Irritated Mind Fear of Warehouse. The game was created by Kyrylo Burulaka, and I cannot find a single information about this guy or his team. He just appeared one day on Steam, dropped his game, and left. Small correction, he just reappeared with trailer for next game, Fracture Point. Link to his website is that and not archived on Wayback Machines, so I don't really have a way to get info about this game other than the credits. Now, some of you may say that this game is illegal, because, well, nobody should profit off a property of someone, but I don't really think it's the case here, or maybe it's just not as obvious as Case Animatronics or Endless Insight was. The Night Shift is just one half of it, the other half being a psychological horror, which I don't have much experience with, but I think the story told here was pretty good. I'm getting ahead of myself, let's just get into the game. Menu is pretty simple, showing us the titular warehouse and some nice clean menus. Maybe let's just start the new game. We awaken a vent shaft, not sure why are we here, but climbing further drops us into a garage with a red car in it and someone banging on the door, prompting us to get out before we are found. Here you solve a small puzzle involving keys that I definitely solved alone without looking up the solution because I didn't know that one of the drawers was interactable. After solving it, we find that next room has a single light switch in it. Phew, that was quite a nightmare. We awaken the same red car on the side of the road during winter, regarding a recent murder of roboticist Ueda Goku. Yeah, Love Holy One, I'll find out his name. He was found dead in his house and the killer is still on the loose. And just as the weather forecast begins, our main character realizes he's hungry and drives off. We stop at a convenience store, ask to withdraw some cash and ask about a place to rent. We grab cash and food and start conversation with the cashier, Michael. He tells us about his neighbor wanting to rent an apartment next to him. How convenient. After that, we leave the store and drive off to the apartments. We then begin in the elevator, stopping at our floor. Getting over to our apartment, we realize we lost our key to it. But we suspect that we left it at Mike's place, and coincidentally, his doors are open to a... Huh. Didn't you Mike knows how to domain expand his apartment? Wonder if he pays extra for that. We walk up the hill to see 3 graves and our key. Grabbing it and going to the exit shows that we are being stalked by something. Anyway, we get to our apartment, that is pretty small all things considered. We have bathroom and... Okay, that was a bit cheap, but I think the cat's existence compensates it. We head up some food and get ready to binge watch TV. After getting a remote from freezer, which after leaving my phone in the freezer once, relatable. Turning the TV on, we happen to hit an ad for RNS company warehouses looking for workers, and we just so happen to be short on money. Next we show up in a car driving. Shortly after that we get a call from our RNS manager. Remember kids, always look at the road when you are talking to someone on the phone. We get informed about our position being a nighttime office worker doing tasks and while at it monitoring the warehouse. We aren't officially night guard though, so we should call police in case someone breaks in and hide. Also on our right side is manual, which we casually read while driving in the middle of the night while it's snowing. This is where basic mechanics are explained, so I'm going to do it in a minute. Putting it down allows us to drive up to work's place and start night 1. So we enter our dinky stinky office, and yeah, this is a semi-open room FNAF section. Now, open room FNAF fan games never really attracted me. They always look cool in concept, but execution is often not that great, and maybe they didn't play well on my laptop with Intel HD graphics I had. Yeah, that may have contributed to that. So in short, I don't have much experience with free-roam FNAF fan games, but I think this game did it pretty well. Our main job is to finish 4 tasks on the monitor of the computer. We do it using interactive Windows XP-inspired system. All tasks are different from each other. In the first task, you do math trying to align the required voltage with provided breakers. Set it right few times to get the second task, waiting. Yeah, that's basically what you do. You're just downloading some files and occasionally resetting connection to resume it. 4 files later, we get to task 3, where you need to guess the order of switches. Not that bad, but it also feels a bit more luck reliant than any other task. The final task is 2 steps. First, drag several folders into a box before sending them over Wi-Fi 3 times. And after doing all of them, your shift is done, and based on how fast you do it, you are rated. I will get back to rating later, so let's go back to the remaining mechanics in Office. On the other side of the office, we have 2 monitors, one monitoring load on generator, that will be important later, and other one used to reset systems. Yeah, just like in FNAF 3, shit breaks here all the time, and your PC blue screens or heating goes out, and to fix it, you rush over to the computer and smash that screen to reboot everything. You cannot reboot a single option, it's always a whole system, no matter how little or much is fixed. You also have a PDA with this panda on it. With it, you can use flashlight to check remaining battery, check cameras or ventilation system. Cameras do look pretty great in this game, but you don't really have a reason to check them because of the way our 2 threads work. Meet Discount Chica and Trashbag. Okay, I looked far and wide through the internet and I am pretty positive these do not have an official name. These two are just nameless in game and so are in the promotional materials, like Halayask on Steam forums, and all I got is that they do not have a name, so great. Now we need to come up with the names. So from now on, this chicken is Funny, Trashbag Bird is Trashhead. So how they work is that they will come to the camera in front of the office and randomly peek through one of the doorways, playing a sound cue for you to hide under the desk and wait for them to leave you alone. In case you aren't sure, you can always check doors with a flashlight to confirm if one of them is waiting for you. Pretty simple mechanic that I wish wasn't shared between the 2 of them. Maybe make it so you need to hide under the correct desk, because right now it doesn't really matter which desk you hide under, it will always work. I don't know, just something to make this a bit more interesting. But overall, they are not that big of a threat. So going back to finishing your shift, depending on how fast you finish your task, you get different ratings, and with that, in different sums of yen given to you. That's right, just like in a failure of a game that was Jollibee Phase 2, you actually get paid. You can then use the cash to buy several upgrades from shop to help you throughout the night, like more battery, more points, faster reboot times, second chance mechanic, and coffee machine. Is there a chance this mechanic was taken from Jollibee's Phase 2? Maybe? But I think just the fact that this game is functional and actually fun makes it worthwhile to try to get a high rank for a high payout to make following nights easier and not just make the game more exploitable. Oh, I went way off track, so let's go the next horror segment. You enter the same convenience store to buy some food, but you find that Michael is not here. Curious, you go to the back room where you find... Walking closer, Mike appears behind us, saying that he doesn't see anything we just saw and asks us to leave the employees-only area. After that, we repeat the same thing we did last time. Get money, get food, talk to Mike. This time he talks a bit about his past, moving here from Canada because of expensive rent. Also mentioning he mostly stays here at the gas station instead of the town all alone. Well, those dialogue choices don't make me positive. But let's continue. Riding the elevator again, we enter apartment without any issues. However, shortly after that, we black out. We awake in a black hallway with locked door behind us, with room in front of us. Entering it, we find a creep and a ghost watching over it. Approaching it... well, at least there was a key inside of it. Walking back, we find a locked door, and opening it, we find ourselves in... isolation ward? And then a flower grows from the ground and talks to us. Great, Flowey the flower is here. He says some cryptic things, something about searching for truth and that he may be someone we don't remember, and leaves us before we get to ask about anything else. We wake up as apparently neighbor next to us woke us up, so we need to go and talk this shit out. Oh, right. I accidentally broke the sequence a bit, so... you talk to the neighbor who first denies making any noise before...
I don't understand what you're talking about. Perhaps you should see a doctor? Horrible sounds. You're mistaken, young man. It's just the imaginary thoughts. You cannot be sick. not want to save you. You're weak, useless. Everyone has always spat on you. You never needed to anyone. Anyone with credit to existence. You're doomed to eternal torment. You must rot for everything you've done. For everything waiting on your soul. You must rot to the ground. You will die. You will die, and no one will remember you. Such a rotten, useless piece of...
We awake. Again. I instinctively go to the bathroom only to find... Okay, we are back in the car, driving to the work. Our boss calls us again, saying that because of the death of the roboticist, all his property is going to be stored inside of the warehouse we work at, and one of his toys just so happens to be stored inside of our office. He also mentions that we have the same last name as he did. Oh, and also apparently we reported the robots from the last night, and management just says that they didn't saw anything of the camera recordings, so... interesting. Before ending the call. We entered the office to see the least child-appealing toy I ever saw. This is Lazy Daisy. Yes, she actually has a name. She is a pretty interesting enemy if you ask me. She randomly activates to sing a song, and to disable her you need to press the next number in the order from 4 possible choices. If she finishes the song or you pick the wrong option, you die. She may not seem like a big threat, but there's nothing more dread-inducing than hearing her start singing as you hide from all the birds. And she can randomly use a faster version of the song, basically making her priority number 1. Other than that, night is pretty much the same as the last one was, although there is this weird program on our desktop now. No matter, let's get to the next horror section. You once again enter the same convenience store and Mike is missing once again. However, the entrance to back area seems to have been engulfed in void. We walked up to the same door, unable to open it, only to find that exit is gone and the flower is back. He talks about making choices and them having consequences, with us apparently unable to accept them. After that, the blood comes back and opening the door reveals us this monster and a body behind him, which I guess is Max. The design is quite unnerving and genuinely made me scared when I first saw it. We come back to our store with blood spilled in the middle of it and racks knocked over. Walking to the car, we get back to our apartment with sirens in the background before we try to fall asleep. Our sleep is interrupted by knocking for police before... Now we are in the car, chased by the police, and to escape from them, we need to play the worst minigame in the whole game. Your task is to overtake the car in front of us, but you also need to watch out for trucks coming from the other side of the road. I don't know why, but the overtaking controls are weirdly stiff. Going to the other side of the road takes a while, and overtaking does too, and I died several times here. But after overtaking the third car, we crashed anyway, and awake in this weird white void, with a girl asking us to play together. Going further with the ball, we find a body before we are thrusted into the next night. Somehow. Don't think I need to say it, but these PSX horror segments are a nice change of pace from night shift gameplay, and while I think I know where the story is going, I think we should move on to night 3. Entering our office, our computer has a note attached to it, saying that we do a great job, but there are apparently reports of something inside the vents. This is the third and final enemy. Ventbird, I guess? Let's go with prototype. So the prototype starts in the previously mentioned vents. We can't see its position all the time, but we can scan it with our PDA to confirm its location. If it's getting close to the office, you need to activate a fan that is the closest to it in order to make it back away. There are two sets of fans, kind of like two chances for you to defend against it. Activating fan, however, puts a load on generator, and if generator overloads, the entire ventilation system goes down for a while, allowing prototype to freely traverse the vents. This was a surprisingly simple but also a stressful mechanic. As enemies can attack you during the scan period, you may be forced to put your eyes away from it in order to deal with them, which is not very convenient considering how long it takes for your scan to recharge. And yeah, this was the last threat we have in this game. All things considered, I think the cast and gameplay is pretty well balanced, jumping from one another pretty well. Going from scanning the vents to managing the tasks to running to Daisy before hiding from one of the birds is just a good gameplay loop. To be fair, this game is paid, so I guess I should have expected this, but at the same time, Endless Insight still can be bought on Steam, so who am I to judge? Okay, let's go to the next horror section. You start in the darkness with table and a newspaper on it. Newspaper talks about Ueda. Apparently he disappeared for a year after his last showcase, suspecting if there are any good reasons for this. After that, a path is revealed to us, ending with a door where we overhear a conversation between Ueda and presumably his wife. Apparently his robots are scaring their child, and father, being father, is blamed for not spending time with his kid. After this, the door can be opened, where we hear the mother say some pretty nasty things.
Takashi, behave yourself! Why can't you be like all the other kids? Takashi, what happened to you?
Getting to the door, we find some sort of closet room with a lighter on the table. Opening the same door, we find ourselves back in the garage from the first section. Trying to leave causes the power to go out, asking us to go into the basement, and as all horror enthusiasts know, nothing good comes from the basements. The basement is partially flooded and the doors to generator are locked. After walking for a while, we find what seems to be a Ueda's workshop, the key we were looking for, and disassembled trash head. Trying to go back, however, we run into Fanny. He works just like angels from Doctor Who, which are more commonly known as SCP-173, or endoskeletons from the Joy of Creation story mode basement section. In short, he moves when you aren't looking at it. Going to the generator, we also run into the trash head. Except his head is not a trash bag, so I guess it's just a normal animatronic now. He's still trash head in my heart. We get to generator and find the lever we need to use and I really think the lever should have been marked better because, man, there are so many things in this generator that are more eye-catching than this lever. Either way, we leave the room and leave robots inside the basement, opening the garage door, ending the sequence. I also thought this was a pretty short sequence and also did not feature the PSX filter for some reason. Not sure if it was intentional or not, but it did feel a bit weird to not see those jagged edges. Okay, let's get to night 4. As I mentioned, there are no more enemies to be added, so how can we make the game harder? Put basins on the floor, damn it! No, for real, those basins are a menace, blocking easy straight lines to both Daisy and Reboot Computer, making this night a little harder than the last one in an interesting way. Okay, so what else is there to talk about? Oh yeah, this weird program from the night 2. So to activate it, you need Daisy to activate 3 different times to get 3 numbers from her guessing game. Inputting them into the program ends the night prematurely, opening a door behind us? Didn't knew we had one. Walking down through it, we find the table with a note on it. This time it's a psychiatrist's evaluation on Ueda Takeshi, who, I think you can guess, is us. At the age of 21, Takeshi went to psychiatrist for evaluation, complaining about persistent audiovisual hallucinations, paranoid ideas of stalking, abrupt mood swings, self-destructive behavior. In the history section, apparently Takeshi was presented with an extremely disturbed mental state, and that he was apparently haunted by these hallucinations for years. Doctor comes to conclusion that Takeshi has schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and depressive disorder. And as treatment planned, we are supposed to be hospitalized and prescribed medication. But since we are here at the work and not in hospital, why are we not following this? Trying to leave and getting 4,000 yen, by the way, we run into Fanny, who's blocking our way. The only way to make him go away is to walk forward. And after that, the day is finished. This was some interesting lore drop if you ask me. The fact that we are possibly hallucinating all of this, or the contrary, us basically escaping hospital and running around with all those mental disorders and killing people. Because if you didn't notice, there's a lot of murder in this game. I really want to see where the story is going, so let's move on to the next horror section. We start in this messy bedroom, most likely Takeshi's. Walking to the door shows us this goddamn flower again. This time he seems a bit more compassionate, saying some things about being a hostage and if we are to be blamed for because of our surroundings, and if there was another path. We leave the room saying that it's all an illusion, I guess, and going further we reach a school with prompt to hide under the tables. That was not subtle at all. In a nearby bathroom we find a ghost on the floor asking us to get its body back. Taking the vent on the right, we reach what seems to be principal's office, when we hear presumably principal talk to Takeshi's parents about his behavior at the school. From here the place opens up a bit, and as previously mentioned, we are tasked with finding some body parts for that ghost girl. On halls we are chased by this creature we saw on day 3, and it is pretty easy to avoid all things considered. You just hide under the table and you can even take multiple hits from it, so horror in this section isn't that high. Getting those body parts, we also hear voices of several kids, either gossiping about Takeshi or bullying him. What can I say about this section? It's alright gameplay wise, even if it was a bit boring, but I guess this was more of a lore drop section than gameplay section, so I guess it was fine. Collecting all the body parts, we black out and are transported to yet another table, this time with a knife. Coming closer we hear our mother scold at Takeshi again, and taking the knife makes that monster appear again, but we can simply cut it down with the knife before it appears again. Again and again and again and again, while we hear distorted voice called at Takeshi before. You leave the room and get into the red car. We get a perspective change to what seems to be police chief getting a report about the murder of Ueda, with Takeshi as prime suspect. After that, we get thrown into the final night segment. The basins are gone, but the whole place is way darker than it was before, which isn't that big of an issue. Robots are moving faster, walls sometimes flash with this red text that seems like taken from some creepypasta game. Other than that, I think this night wasn't meant to be the final boss kind of night that most FNAF games go for nowadays. But I think the challenge presented here was a pretty good finale to these night sections. And speaking of finale, let's talk about it. We awake next to the crashed car, most likely continuing from the third horror segment where with nowhere else to go, we move deeper into the nearby forest with radio reporting about our death. We black out and awake in a hill that looks suspiciously like the one from Mike's house, but this time with a house on top of it. Takeshi says that he found a talking flower and wants to show it to mom and dad. Walking up to the door, the creature jumps at us again, sending, I guess, our ghost back to reality. I mean, we can't be alive after crashing the car. This time there's a weird grey building in front of us, and of course we enter it. We enter a looping hallway with Fanny's head, and before long, guess who is back. After saying some more cryptic words, we walk further and find an exit door. Behind it, we find the flower, 2 graves, with third one waiting for us, and door. Flower this time stops with its cryptic shit and simply tells us that this is the end of the road and we are given a choice. Do we step into the eternal darkness of grave, or do we seek their redemption, forever haunted by our actions? In my playthrough, I walked to the light. We awake in the hospital bed with our parents alive? Somehow Goku and Mother are alive, and they talk about how worried they were about us not coming back to them, but soon after that the shadow Fanny appears in front of us before we cut to the credits. The other ending is just us falling down a hole and breaking our bones, and cutting to credits. While the second ending is most likely unsatisfactory by design, the first one seems a little too good to be true. We know Takeshi has schizophrenia, so I guess whether the redemption ending is just another hallucination or maybe the whole game was a hallucination is left to interpretation, and I do like this bit of ambiguity with it. And so this is all the story mode has to offer in this game. If you want to play more of this game, there are 12 different challenges to tackle. Some of them simply make robots faster, others put interesting spin-off things like making you experience the pain of forgetting glasses, or putting retrofilter which does not like when you use the flashlight, I can see where the first section didn't have it, or making the room bigger, putting a lot of lazy daisies inside. These were a bit of a time waster, but I think they are better than just setting IA value to random number. Oh yeah, this is all Irritated Mind Fear of the Warehouse has to offer. So what are my thoughts on the game? Well, it is a competently made animatronic horror game. The mechanics may not be that interesting individually, but combined with balancing tasks, keeping systems working, and juggling of threats did come into a great gameplay loop. The horror sections, as many pointed out, do feel like an entirely different game, but I don't think it's a bad thing. If anything, it's a good thing because you have a break from the night segments, and I really don't think playing those night segments one after another would really be as interesting if the game didn't have those horror segments. To me, it was worth the money I paid for it, and I do recommend you try it. Hi there, thank you for watching this video. This was a bit different from my last video that was retrospective on the 6 hours games, but I wanted to try something different. Don't worry, there are at least 2 retrospectives in the work, and I guess and do tell me if you want more fun game reviews. Oh, also I finished finalizing my avatar, so he will appear in the next episode. Sorry to everyone who liked this emoji dragon. Yeah, I guess this is it. See ya!